Life price.
Got paid today and also went broke today.
Ah, I know
Nobody
what's
fucking
happening
helped today.
now.
At this point, I seriously think Gen Z is just screwed. In 2026, Gen Z just simply earns way less than it costs to survive. The average Gen Zer makes about 25K a year, which is around $21,000 a month, and spends basically all of it on bills or rent. Nearly half of Gen Z runs out of money before the end of the month ends, and that's not just budgeting, that's just survival at that point. And don't get me started on student loan debt, because the average Gen Zer also has about 30K of student loan debt on top of all of that. We are spending more on essentials than any other previous generation, and wages just keep going down, and the cost of living just keeps going up. You're not
Right?
failing in life. The system is just has completely fucked us over. Budgeting does help, don't get me wrong. I still use mine to budget and track all of my expenses, but the system is still failing us.
Now let's talk about why this new generation is, in my opinion, pretty screwed. It's
I'm
gonna
so
be
happy to
very
see his face.
tough to get out of this because this new generation, they grew up with graduating college from the pandemic era, which has had a significant effect financially for a lot of people. Not only are a lot of people that are graduating right now not able to find jobs because there's pretty much no entry level positions right now. These entry level positions are hiring people with years of experience compared to someone who's just fresh out of college. Maybe because they don't want to train these people. If someone has no experience, you do have to invest a little bit into them to train them. But they're realizing that people don't want to stay at these companies for long term. A lot of people are job hopping and they're thinking, why invest in someone when they're just going to leave in a few years? But there's a lot of factors why people are leaving their jobs very quickly, and that's because they're not getting raises that are meaningful. They're not getting promotions. There's no growth. The only way for them to grow is to hop companies for a higher pay. But a lot of these people, since they're not really able to build a meaningful wealth while they're young, it's going to have a huge impact because they're not going to be able to save for their retirement. That's a huge issue. Let me know in the comments down below what you think and take a look at the rest of these videos.
I can't keep living a paycheck to paycheck. The second my salary hits, it's gone. Rent, loans, utilities, you name it, it's all gone. I'm not even doing anything crazy either. Every month I say I'll save and I don't. And then this month I
level up.
I'm fine, but my car isn't. It's $1,500 to fix it and I don't even have that. So I'm just sitting there thinking, why do I not have $1,500 saved? I work full time and it's not like I'm spending money like crazy. And also, payday isn't for 2 more weeks. I've already worked half of the month, but the money is just not there yet in my bank account. So I go to HR and I ask if there's any way I can get an advance on my paycheck to pay for this bill. And the lady goes, oh yeah, we use anytime pay, so you can go and get your money whenever you need it. Apparently we function through this system called Deal, and we're able to access our paycheck whenever we need it throughout the month. Yeah, I'm new, so I had no idea this even existed, but this is seriously a savior for someone like me who lives paycheck to paycheck. I don't know, is this normal? Does your company do this? Because I've never heard of it.
A new study shows that 75% of millennials and Gen Z are living paycheck to paycheck in the US. Also, most of them don't have health insurance either, and instead of going to a doctor's office or anything like that, most of them would rather just sit there and let things get worse than actually get treatment. And honestly, it's pretty sad when you think about this. Now, the reason this is because the economy has been so bad since starting in about early mid-90s to currently. When you look at most jobs also, a lot of them really aren't paying people enough to get by. For instance, a job that I work at, I get minimum wage. I just work a simple job at a hotel, trying to get by, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And yeah, they don't really pay enough. I'm making $15 an hour. Most people are making even less than that. So I mean, yeah, it's sad to see, you know, as more studies come out, I'll keep updating y'all how most of the population is doing. But yeah, that's the US for you.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now.
Get paid, and she was like, girl, you don't put no money aside after you pay the bills?
Nigga, what money can I put aside?
She's like, what if an emergency happens? I said, bitch, I live in the emergency. Every day is an emergency. If something comes up, like a bill or something, it's just gonna have to wait till I get paid again. I'm not gonna put my priorities and my needs on the back burner just to pay another bill that has to get paid any fucking way every fucking month. It's gonna get paid eventually. May not be today. It may not be until it's past due, but it's going to get paid. There's no such thing as saving. I'm living in the now, okay? Tomorrow may not come. It's not promised to anybody. The money that I save is going to go to somebody else, so I might as well just make do with it right now. And don't get it wrong, I pay my responsibilities. I pay my bills. I do what I have to do. But whatever's left after the money that I've set aside, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to account this week $600 towards bills. And then when I get paid again, I'm going to put aside another $600 to $700 towards bills. But bitch, that money after that, that's me. That has my name written all fucking over it. Anything else that comes up while I am using and utilizing my prioritized money for my needs, it's gonna have to fucking wait.
If you kids can't live comfortably on $20 an hour, you have to be overspending. We got to break this down very quickly to give people perspective into Gen Z's lives. If you make $20 an hour in 2024, that is $40,000 a year. After taxes, that is $2,750. The average one-bedroom apartment and utility is going to run you $2,000. You cannot do that making $20 an hour. So you're going to have to rent with a roommate for about $1,200, and that's being conservative. $500 a month for groceries, which is less than $150 a week. $300 for a student loan payment, which is below average. $300 for a car payment, which is below average. $150 for car insurance, $150 for gas, $100 for personal care, $50 for a cell phone is $2,750. That is paycheck to paycheck, leaving you with nothing. Nothing for savings, investments, the big one, health insurance, because I'm assuming they're under 26 years old, and zero fun. Now, if they were to make $30 an hour in 2024, that's $60,000 a year. That's $3,900 after taxes. Maybe they decide to get their own place for $2,000 and everything else stays the same. They're left with $350 a month, which is essentially still paycheck to paycheck. This is the cost of living in America in 2024. The idea of $20 an hour, even for me when I graduated high school, was a ton of money. Now, $20 to $30 is minimum wage.
Living paycheck to paycheck doesn't mean that you don't make enough money. Sometimes it means that you are spending exactly what you make and sometimes even more than you make. Not only was I living paycheck to paycheck, I was actually spending way more than I made because I never looked at my budget. I never looked at my
Word?
income versus expenses. I just
Damn.
did not look at that. I did not give a fuck. And now I'm in
Yeah.
this situation where I am in over $69,000 worth of debt and slowly paying that off. Listen,
Nigga, goddamn! Ooh! 69,000, not 6,900, 69. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to react until the end and give my 2 cents, but god, 69 goddamn thousand? Sugar dumpling, baby girl. I got a couple people that you should probably call so that way they can help you with your finances to help you get back on track. You're gonna have to cut down on some things that you're doing currently. I see you in the car. It doesn't look like you living in the car or anything, but whew, we
I
gonna
make great
continue this
money,
later.
but when I started my debt payoff journey, there was no wiggle room. Every single dollar was accounted for. It took me looking at everything with a fine-tooth comb and finding what the hell I can cut out and what I needed to keep. I cut out all unnecessary spending, including fast food, swimming lessons for my kids, even cutting out my beloved Amazon and Target. Sometimes the most frustrating part about this journey is realizing that I totally make enough money every single month to pay all my expenses and more, yet I'm still in $69,000 in debt because I mismanaged my funds and I never had a budget. If I could give you one piece of advice is look at your freaking expenses, make a goddamn budget, and stick to that shit. If you're also on a debt payoff journey, follow along on my journey to becoming debt-free in 365 days. I love you guys so much. Bye, guys!
Gen Z is struggling in the workplace because the time and effort to reward ratio is nowhere near strong enough. We see all these people on social media living their dream lives, and it makes us wonder what the heck are we even doing working a 9 to 5? Not only that, but the effort and time that it takes to commute, do the job, go home, have a lack of time, lack of energy to go do something for yourself is unbelievable. And for those of us that are fed up and actually doing work outside of our 9 to 5 and on our weekends to make sure we can create a life that we are proud of,
Yep.
we have to sacrifice so much shit on top of that too. Like back in the day, you could just work an average job, you could get married, you could buy a house, start a family, and live a regular life. But these days, making the average income...
What did they say in the notebook? It's not that simple. It's not that simple.
is nowhere near enough to even live on your own in a big city. 2, start your investment
Level
journey
up.
and start focusing on a down payment to
Wanna
buy a
run
house.
damage against
3,
target.
we are just barely surviving out here on the average Canadian income.
Gen Z is actually cooked because tell me why a 6-year-old said that our generation would be just fine if we learn how to save properly and work harder. We have
Get the fuck
thousands
out.
of dollars in student loans, getting the same degree that you got 30 years ago, just to end up getting paid the same amount of money that you got paid 30 years ago, but now everything is 1,000% more expensive. A house that you bought for $50,000, we now have to buy that same house for $500,000, and you're telling us that we need to learn how to save properly? This really infuriates me because I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I save money every single month. I invest my money every single month. I even got an app called Mine that helps me budget my money to a T, just so I can keep my life on track. And I'm getting told that we're not saving properly. This lady picked the wrong one today because I am not having it.
I cannot keep living paycheck to paycheck. As soon as my salary hits my bank account, it's gone. Whether it's rent, bills, loans, it's gone so fast. And I'm not even doing anything that crazy. Every month I'm like, I'm gonna save, and I don't. So last week I got in a little bit of an accident. I'm fine, but my car's not. I made $1,500 to fix it. And I'm just
She looks like a
standing there
girl I used to know.
why don't I have $1,500?
Shout out to you, Danielle.
Saved? I work full time and I don't even get paid for 2 more weeks. Asked HR, is there any flexibility? And they replied back to me saying that they use Deal, so you can withdraw money anytime throughout the month that you have already earned. I didn't even know this because I'm new and I used the money to fix the car. But this is such a lifesaver for somebody who apparently lives on the edge like I do. Is this something that's normal? Because I've never heard of this.
Now, I'm definitely worried for this new generation, in particular Generation Z, because a lot of them are getting depressed. They're not able to pay off their bills, not able to save any money, not able to grow and invest any money, and that's going to have a huge impact not only on.
Yo, don't judge me. I was riding the go-kart with my son like 2 days ago, and all I'm gonna say is Shirley took a tumble. So the whole right side of my body is scabbed the fuck up. So I haven't been at training. I haven't been teaching I haven't been teaching martial arts, any of that stuff, because I'm not trying to risk any infection. Because I know I disinfect my gloves and everything. I don't know about everybody else. And then even so, getting on the ground and rolling and all that stuff, I ain't trying to deal with that. I got scabs on my arm, on my leg, and I got fucking gauze on my ass right now on my fucking right butt cheek. And it sucked. The first day I didn't realize that my butt cheek was so bad until my drawers was sticking to it and I had to take a shit and I could barely get my drawers down. So I had to ask the wife. I'm about to get into TMI, too much information. So if you don't want to hear this, go ahead and fast forward like 10 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and check the time. I had to have the wife spray down some peroxide and then gauze my backside and put the gauze on there so that way I'm not rubbing against my underwear as I'm walking. That shit was painful as a motherfucker. But yeah, so with that, I'm healing. I'm healing currently at this moment. So anybody who may be watching, just know. I mean, shit. I'll show y'all a little. Y'all can see a little bit on the arm right here, a little bit on the arm, and then coming up and all that. So yeah, I fell off the goddamn go-kart. I know they probably had training like, man, what this dude doing? I'm sorry. I ain't trying to have no scabs reopen and be bleeding up on the mat and everything. But yeah.
Their mental health, but on their financial as well, because they're not going to be able to retire easily unless they have a significant impact on their income.
But yo, shout out to Life Priced YouTube. Go ahead, check them out. I got them tagged up on here as well. But at the same time, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Honestly, I don't really care. If you subscribe, yo, big up to yourself. If you like this, much love and appreciate it. Honestly, I want y'all to comment because it's y'all conversation that I honestly appreciate the most. I like engaging in conversation with individuals. I like talking to people. We're living in a time where people don't even want to talk no more. The social skills have gone out the window. People don't know how to talk to individuals, and that bothers me. So I'm constantly talking to my kids. I'm constantly talking to people online. Nobody want to talk. I'm like, yo, get the dick out your mouth. Get the pussy out your mouth. Let's go ahead and have a conversation. But back at it. Let's get it.
making a lot of money. But right now, a lot of the Generation Z is not making very good wages.
They're not.
As a younger millennial, I'm 31 years old. I feel like
Hey,
I sympathize
girl.
a lot with Gen Z and Gen Alpha and all of the generations that come after us. I just remember growing up, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to act like it was easy, but things were a lot more attainable, if that makes sense. Like, I was able to work a job. Like, I had a call center job. I probably was making $12 an hour. This is back in like 2014. I had a roommate and our rent was $800 for a 2-bedroom. Like, I was paying $450 in rent. That is very rare today. Like, I was able to buy my first car for $1,500. Now, granted, I was making $7.25 an hour, but I just feel like things were a lot more obtainable for someone
You got
who's
greedy ass
fundamentally trying
motherfuckers
to
these
build
days. That's what's going
compared to
on.
what it is today. So
True
I
talk, no
oftentimes
lie. All
really
hood.
sympathize with them. The job market was a lot better for my upbringing. Now, granted, I know some older millennials, it was different because they grew up and they were coming up in like 2008, 2009. But I was a little bit after that. I graduated high school in 2012 and I graduated college in 2017. So, like, financially, I feel like I was somewhat at an advantage to try to get ahead and to try to go up the ladder. And I just feel like I look at the younger generation, and I'm not gonna lie, it has to be hard now when rent is at an all-time high, buying a car is at an all-time high, even used cars, you guys. Used cars are like $5,000 for a 2002 Honda.
I mean, in all honesty, it's not necessarily the price that they have on there, it's the APR. The the annual percentage rate that they have on there, the taxes. The taxes and APR that they have on these vehicles is making it. They sitting there with like a 28%. What the fudge? I'm like, because when you put a 28% on there, that means that you end up paying 1,500. You pay 1,500 on for your monthly payment on the vehicle. 700 will go towards. Matter of fact, probably around like 900 will go towards freaking taxes, and then you'll end up having the rest go towards the principal. So now you're sitting there at like a freaking 72 month. You ain't gonna be accomplishing anything. So I mean, it's ridiculous. In order for you to actually pay that thing down, you're gonna have to put the 1,200 onto the. You got to pay the 1,200 and then put an additional like 500 onto the principal to eventually drop down the taxes. And it's the same thing to where when you're buying a house, like my house right now is 500K. I'm paying 3,500 a month for the house mortgage. Fucking crazy, right? Crazy, insane. Why? D-Y? You asked, right? You asked. I know you asked. Because if I didn't, where would the in-laws stay? Where would me, the wife, and the kids stay? I have to. Um, I'm the provider of the household. Have been for a long time. So I mean, with it. But when it comes down to it, paying extra onto that mortgage is going to make it to where when you pay extra onto the principal of that mortgage, it's going to bring down the amount that you owe on that mortgage, which will drop the taxes down to where now eventually when you're paying onto the original mortgage of let's say that 3,500, more of it will go towards that principal than the taxes. As the mortgage as that loan mortgage as the mortgage loan gets lower and lower, you'll be paying more onto the mortgage and less on the taxes. So that's when you have to come out of pocket and put more onto the principal when you're paying that mortgage. So pay that mortgage and put some on the principal. So that way it can drop that mortgage rate down. Talks that need to be had. That's what I'm talking about on the YouTube, all right? So that way you are now going to be paying more on your principal rather than paying all that taxes and property tax. Okay? Look at that. Let those with ears hear. All right? Back at it.
Like, people are tripping. I really feel sorry for you guys, and I pray that you guys have the strength, and I hope that things actually change. That way, young people are able to set footing in this world. Because if not,
I don't know how things are gonna go.
I don't know how things are gonna go
And
either.
just know, if you're
True
a young
talk.
adult paying rent, you live a very different life than your friends that are able to stay with family or even pay a subsidized rent to somebody that they know. Because when you're out in the world and you're dealing with a company wanting their money, it is very different than your dad suggesting that you put in towards the house this week. And a lot of times, the way in which you operate your life is on a different level of comparison as well. It's kind of like that sound where it's like, I don't know the specifics of it, but people basically use it when talking about work. And they're like, when I'm just at my job to get money for the weekends versus the person beside me has 3 kids to take care of at home. Essentially, that's kind of how it's going to be within your age group. You have to care for yourself, and what you don't get done depends directly on your survival, whereas somebody else kind of has the luxury and the comfort of at least having a fallback plan. Hey, the landlord I don't know has no problem kicking me out, whereas my parents, I might have been late for 3 times and they're not going to kick you out because you're still their child. There's a level of knowingness that provides comfort, and there's an awareness in that then directs your subconscious. And when you're out in spaces with people that don't pay rent yet or just haven't had that level of independence in adulthood yet, oftentimes you'll find they do kind of exhibit a level of arrested development. Oftentimes they have little conflict resolution skills because they haven't had to maybe live with a stranger or live in a building with strangers to where everything can't go your way. There's also a different level of drive. They won't understand why you're intense about certain things that you are, why you're so thorough in the things that you do, because again, there's always that fallback. And while a lot of times comfort is something that we should be afforded and can keep us safe through certain eras of our life, when you are comforted as well, especially in an era where you should be ambitious, which is the start of your adulthood, a lot of times you don't go as far as things. You don't put as much of an effort as things. Even though you claim you want your independence, a lot of these people won't act as though
what's
that's
good,
actually
Joshua?
something they want to turn it into a reality. And hey, I get it. I wouldn't be rushing to spend money right now.
Jay was in
You have
here.
your whole life to
Gang,
do it.
gang. I don't know
But
how you
it
do
can
it.
be
I don't
quite
know how I do it
isolating
either.
if you are one of the few people
I can't keep a
that
relationship.
are
What the
out here
fuck,
making it on
Jay?
your own means, doing it alone, finding a job
Damn,
when the
Jay.
store closes,
All right, I
finding
gotta have this
avenues
shit
and
set up,
ways to
cuz.
make ends meet when at a time like
Koala
now
na
it is
bay.
nearly impossible even for the
Why
seasoned
my shit
adults.
not show
So
up?
don't feel weirded out when you do get around your age mates and maybe even people that are older than you but don't have the same responsibilities as you, and you feel siloed in that. Because the truth is, if you are a young person living the experience of what our predecessors could expect to live in their early 20s, is an outlier for you amongst where people are in their early 20s now due to delays like COVID, as well as the financial state of the world, as well as the job market.
Gen Z's not lazy, and I'm sick and tired of people telling me that. If I hear it again, I might just crash out.
Well, then crash out, bro.
Ridiculous economy to start with. Can't stand when people are like, "Oh, we don't want to work. Gen Z's so lazy. Gen Z doesn't want to work to earn money." Because that's not true. We want to work. We want to make wages that can actually earn a decent living and pay the bills. How are you going to call somebody lazy when you have to apply to hundreds of jobs just to hear nothing back? And we have a record high unemployment rate for postgrads. The people who went to college.
You know what? I can't fight this dude right here.
Full-time jobs, they may only cover rent, not bills, not your tuition, not your debt, not your personal expenses. The first generation where you can do everything right, you have 3 jobs and you can't even pay all of your bills. 80% of people that I know that are between 21 to 28 are still living with their parents, even the ones that have full-time jobs, because it is that hard to live on your own now. Imagine still being behind no matter how hard you try. No. That's not lazy. That's our reality now. People in our generation, you can't just rely on income anymore. If you can even get a job, because I mean, we don't know how hard that is. You have to rely on side hustles just to make ends meet. Honestly, these are not always equally. There's so many different ways to make money, but they are not the same. Me, I tried Instacart, I tried dropshipping, I tried DoorDash. DoorDash was trash. What has really let me break through is by making freelance marketing for brands. You can get into UGC and apply to jobs to make content for brands through platforms like SideShift and stack as many gigs as you can possibly get, because we're not lazy. We're gonna work hard, and we have to. You know how expensive life is right now? We have no safety net. So I hope this helps, and good luck on your freelancing journey.
I feel like most Gen Z still lives with their parents because it's almost impossible to move out, so they don't care at all because they have zero responsibilities. This is true. A lot of Gen Z still live at home, which is not a problem. I think it's actually really good to live at home when you're young and able to save, buy a house, establish your future, especially if you haven't started a family yet, you don't have kids yet. this is actually not a bad thing at all. I'm all for staying at home, stacking, saving, helping out here and there. I'm all for that, 1,000%. But what this person is saying is 100% right. When they have less responsibilities, they're just able to sometimes, especially if without guidance, they don't care because they don't have rent to pay or car notes or car insurance. But what I'm gonna say about my employees, because this video that I made was not to bash my employees at all, because I have some amazing Gen Z employees. They show up to work every single day. The Gen Z employees that I was hiring that was a problem, they no longer work for me. Believe me, they no longer work for me. Any Gen Z or any employee, period, that was a problem, I got rid of them. They could not work here. So the people that I have now, top tier amazing. They're not perfect,
Top
but
tier
they're
amazing.
amazing. They show up to work. They respect me. They work hard. We don't have no problems. They communicate. They need something. They know who to call. They know who to call because I got their back. Okay, so I'm an amazing boss. Believe me, amazing boss. Everybody who worked for me got their own place because they can afford it. Because I pay people fair and I pay people well. They work hard, yes. I get bonuses. Like I do
There we go.
these contests and stuff, and I'll be like, I'm giving away $500 this month. I'm giving away $800 this month. We good at
Yes.
Mitch's Clean. I just wanted to put that out there. But what this person is saying is correct. When you are grown and older, you take your job more serious. So you show up to work on time, and that's why everybody that work for me, they have their own stuff. So that's what they know. They got rent to pay, car notes, they got responsibilities. So they know that this job is important.
Mm-hmm.
They know that their job is important, especially your job is paying you good money. Okay,
Preach.
and it's good money, and you enjoy what you do. You show up to work, you get your paycheck on time, you good. You got a boss that's cool. You good. You good. I don't care if you late sometimes and stuff happens. I'm always gonna cover you. I don't really get last minute call outs. My employees respect me and they respect the business that I'm running. So I don't really get last minute call outs and none of that. My people show up and they show up and they do a good job. Do things happen? Absolutely. Nobody's perfect and I'm not expecting them to be perfect.
Facts.
But for the most part, my people show up. I'm telling you, I really don't have a problem with attendance. When I have an employee, Gen Z, Gen X, baby boomer, whatever, millennial, if you are not reliable, you can't work here. So the people I have now are reliable. The ones that came through my pipeline, like I stated, I got rid of them. 90 days, if you call out within the first 90 days of a job,
Done.
the first 90 days of a job, you must not care or really want that job. Anybody know when you first get a job, you cannot call out. Not for at least the first 90 days. You can't call out. If it's an emergency, something happened once or twice or whatever, cool. Stuff happens. Just, communicate. Communicate stuff. I'm sorry, stuff happened. I'm not going to make this a pattern. But in the first 90 days, if you called out 3 or 4 times in the first 90 days, red flag. That person cannot work here.
Big facts.
So all the Gen Zs, and I've seen a pattern specifically with Gen Zs. I had somebody, it was an emergency every week. Oh my God, every week. Every time I scheduled this person on a Saturday, they was not coming. They didn't want to work weekends. They didn't want to work the Saturday. Every time something happened, or every time a holiday came, whether it was the 4th of July or something, because we rotate holidays here, so you
Red
know
flag.
what holiday that you're working way in advance.
Red flag.
And if you can't make the holiday, holla at me. We're gonna figure it out. But what I'm stating is communication. I notice that they'll just be like, whatever. I'm just call out at the last minute. I'm just so I'm saying all this to say, full circle. This person is right. When you have responsibilities, when you have rent, when you have a car note, when you have things to pay for, and all my people that work for me got their own place. Even my 20-year-olds, okay, living in condos. Okay, my 20-year-olds live in nice places, drive nice cars, and like nice things. That have to pay for food out of pocket. You show up to that job and you respect that job. So she's right. When you really don't care, when you're going to still live and have somewhere to live and have food in your pocket, regardless, you might walk around not with a lot of money, but if you still going to be cool, you could disrespect your job or you could not take your job as serious. But when you have a job paying a certain amount of money, you know how hard it is to go get another one. When you have a job paying well over $15, $16, $17, $18 an hour, you know how hard it is to go get a job paying more than you know how hard it is. It's not easy, especially being young, making that much money.
Facts. Switch Batman back over. So let me hit my talking points, things that I took notes of while I was sitting here playing the game and also listening to that. So one thing that got me was China. I like how China's doing things because China you can go in and your utilities, you can go ahead and pay those for a year. So, for example, your internet can be paid yearly. So with that, you'll come through and you'll end up paying like $200 for a year based off whatever the plan is that you have that you chose to get for that year. You go ahead and pay. You can pay that month to month, or you can pay that all up front up year, because it's going to be the same amount every month. You know, so you can go ahead and pay all that up front, and it's only like 200 some dollars. They charge like 60, like 20, $40 a month, depending on what plan you have. In America, nah, you need to charge that every month. Nah, that's a recurring. It's a subscription. You feel me? And that's one thing that kills me. In America, everything is a subscription. They are money hungry. They want to constantly be pulling funds monthly, weekly. It's yearly. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you look at it, back in the day, you can get Microsoft. And you can buy that one time and you're good. You'll have Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all that. One time purchase. Now you need to have a subscription for it. A monthly subscription for it. Back in the day, you would spend $119 for the thing and you owned it. Now you're spending $20 to $30 a month for that plan. So 3 times 12, if it's $30 a month, 3 times 12, that's going to put you at what? About $360 a month or a year, minus the tax. But I'm like, at one point, you were able to pay $119 and you owned it. You owned it. Microsoft Word, for that version, you owned it. They have gotten money hungry to where now everything is a subscription. You will own nothing and be happy.
I will control everything.
Now, with that lady who was talking about, she was 69,000 in debt. What the?
What the fuck is that?
What the? That's crazy. I'm like 400 and like about 439,000 in debt, but that's because I own a house and I'm paying down that house constantly. So big up to my realtor, much love and appreciated. Hoorah, VA! Thank you, Marine Corps, for allowing me to serve the 8 years that I did there and 2 tours of Afghanistan. Hoorah! And also for the things I did before the Marine Corps that helped me put myself in the mind frame to understand how money flows. But to be in 69,000 in debt. Now, granted, the lady did say that she did a budget. She's working things accordingly. What's up, Jermaine? But that's still ridiculous. Now, let me understand this. Saving properly. What does that mean? What does saving properly mean to you? Because somebody in the video said that saving properly, you need to save properly. Or correction, I take that back. They stated that individuals before them stated that you weren't saving properly. What does saving properly mean? Because if 75% of your freaking check goes towards taxes, goes towards bills, goes towards trying to survive, not live, survive.
Just so we're clear, if you pay all your bills and then you don't have no more money left, you are broke.
That means 25% is going to be going towards the savings, right? Or not even towards the savings. That would you have to differentiate what are you going to have for savings and what are you going to have to live. So how do you save properly with 25%? Imagine if you're making $2,000 a month. That's how much my wife makes. $2,000 a month. Honestly, less than that because they don't cut her hours. So I don't even know how much she makes. I don't keep track on that because I got all the big shit. I got bigger shit to worry about. I got bigger fish to fry. But if you're making $2,000 an hour, And with that, 75% of that is going towards bills. You have 25% of that that is left over. That's about $250. So that $250, how much can you save and how much can you live off of? Because you still got to worry about gas. And right now, gas is like what, $4 a gallon, depending on where you are. I know for us over here, it's like $3, $4 a gallon. It's like $3.75, $4 a gallon. So that's an easy boom. We're gonna run you up to, depending on what type of vehicle you have. We'll say about a 20-gallon vehicle. Yeah, about 20-gallon vehicle running at about, we'll say $4 a gallon. We're looking at about a good $80. About a good $90 a gas tank. Well, I'll say about $80 gas, $80 to fill up if you end up running on E. So we'll go ahead and cut that in half and say you end up going on about half a tank. Matter of fact, the way that I operate and the wife operate is about, we don't let our shit drop past a quarter of a tank. So we'll say about a good $45 to fill up at half a quarter of a tank. So for $45, nobody lives close to where they work, which means that I'll say about every week. So that's about 45 times 4. That's about $180 a month. $180 a month. Or we'll go ahead and cut that in half. So $90 a pay period. And you got out of 250. So that means how much can you really save? But anyway, going on to the next talking point. I'll let y'all do the math. Drop that shit down in the comments. Now, there's a lot of individuals who have advanced degrees that are struggling because they're either overqualified or the bare minimum job is asking a job that is saying entry level is asking for the amount of experience that they have when they have a master's degree or even a doctorate. I have looked at positions where they're saying you need to have 8 years of customer service and da 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 da, a bachelor's degree, or either 4 years of, what is it? 4 years of anything that can be rolled into it. And I'm like, this is for an entry level? My gosh, you gotta be fucked up. You feel me? You're crazy, boy. So much love and respect to you. Thank you very much. And everybody else, if y'all made it to the end of this, go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, share this out to anybody that you feel could actually utilize this or might even resonate with anything that was said today. Check me out. Check me out. Check me out. Dipset.